first half has been brought to you by Sonic Drive-In, where we invite you to drive in for a change. And by Citgo, look for the sign of quality throughout Big 12 country. Citgo says go. And by Southwestern Bell. Count on Southwestern Bell for the communication services you'll use every day. Yes, it's that simple.
Okay.
Let's see what Sonny Lubick has to say. He is with Brian Nooner.
Coach, we talked last night that the key to this game might be we weren't very smart there in the last 2 minutes, really. Then we miss a field goal, miss an extra point, and the game should be closer than what it really is.
You've proven on that scoring drive you can move the ball against this defense.
I think we can move it. Again, we got to give our quarterback an extra second to throw the football, and if we can do that, we'll catch the football, but we got to be able to do that.
All right, thanks a lot for joining us, Coach. Sonny Lubick of Colorado State.
And we are underway. They're going to run it out. Calvin Branch does not get up to the 20. Not a very smart move when you're down by that many. Let's take a look at the Discover Card halftime stats, brought to you by Discover Card, proud partners of the Smithsonian's 150th anniversary. And the numbers really all Nebraska, and I think one of the keys, though, is the rushing yards. Colorado State wanted to run the football. Not successful.
Not successful. Nebraska wanted to run it, and they certainly did. Over 2 football fields rushing. And look at the time at possession differential there. And also, Nebraska's run so many more snaps at the line of scrimmage than Colorado State.
Colorado State once again lone setback. Moreno is going to do what he did in the first quarter. Put the ball up. It is incomplete. Intended for Jeff Turner, the wide receiver, who already has a touchdown. Moreno in that first half, 5 for 12. 91 yards.
Not a bad performance. I'm sure he'd like to have done a little bit more. I think one of the keys in that first half was Moreno and his offensive troops answered Nebraska's touchdown drive to start the game. Had to settle for a field goal opportunity. It was blocked. That had to hurt your mentality a little bit.
Moreno now has a touchdown pass in every game this year. Throws into the flat. He has Turner at the 30. Gets away from the defender. Picks up about 7 more after the reception. Up to the 39-yard line. That'll be a first down for Colorado State. Michael Booker, who has been having some problems with tendonitis, on the coverage.
Oh, Booker was MVP in the Fiesta Bowl. He had an outstanding game in the Fiesta Bowl, the national championship game. And Moreno, like you said, Ron, at the touchdown pass in every game. Coming into today, he'd thrown for at least 250 yards passing in every game. He's going to have to pick it up a little bit this afternoon to get that done.
First and 10, ball on the 39-yard line. This time to try it on the ground to Damon Washington. Damon's brother Riley was an All-American trackster here at Nebraska. He is second in the WAC in rushing the football, 20th in the nation.
One thing that Nebraska is doing up front defensively is Colorado State's not reestablishing the line of scrimmage down the football field. Nebraska's getting stalemates or pushing Colorado State backwards a little bit. They have dominated the line of scrimmage, both offensively and defensively for the most part.
No gain on the play, second and 10. 2 wide receivers to the right. 1 to the left, lone setback. Moreno, 3-step drop. Quick slant. Oh, it's intercepted at the 40. A lot of room to run down to the 20, down to the 15-yard line. Jamel Williams with his first interception of the year.
Well, Eli Workman couldn't make the catch. The ball bounces off of his hands, and then it's down the football field. That's the first interception of the season for Jamel Williams. I tell you, he's a great player, though. I mean, he can get some things done.
Only the 4th interception of the year for Moreno, but you really can't give that to Moreno.
No, it's his tight end. His big tight end, Eli Workman, has to make a play on this, and he can't control it. And then it's off to the races. And I'll tell you what, that's a quality athlete right there. Now, that's a linebacker that's running like a tailback.
Now this young defense of Colorado State has got to stand tall, or this could be a blowout early. Green will try the left side, spinning around, makes his way up to the 10-yard line. Octavius McFarland on the stop.
You know, Moreno has thrown 4 interceptions. 3 of them now have been tipped. 2 at the line of scrimmage, and this last one not controlled by his tight end. That's a very catchable football. Bounces off his hand, sits him in the face mask, and then deflects to the defensive player, Jamel Williams, who says, thank you very much.
Pickup of 3 on the play, 2nd and 7. Frost looking in the flat, has his man to the 5, steps out of bounds at the 4-yard line. Sean Whiting, a wingback, number 33, not even on the depth chart, makes the reception.
And if Frost could have hit him maybe a little bit sooner, or if Whiting could have kept his feet maybe just a little bit better, keep himself in bounds, he would have scored a touchdown. But he just couldn't get his feet back underneath him to right himself and get himself back up the football field. If he can control his feet, he walks into the corner of the end zone.
3rd down and a yard. The pitch to Green, tries to get the 1st down, is hit behind the line of scrimmage. We have a penalty and maybe a face mask.
Yep.
Todd Selecki comes from that right tackle spot, the junior from Durango, Colorado.
And Amon Green takes his helmet off. He says, man, that was a vicious one there.
About took his neck off.
Yeah. That's what happens. Anytime you tackle high, you run a chance of having that happen. And you know, that's not how coaches teach you to tackle. They don't teach you to hit high and hog-tie people. They teach you to get your head across the bow, try to knock the football out of there, and wrap people up. And that's
one way how to get him down.
That's not form tackling right there by Selecki. And that's how you can. The reason that those penalties are called, you can sustain serious neck injuries that way. There's no question about that.
I think after he brought him down with a face mask, he reached up again.
Pass, 5 yards on the defense. The penalty goes half the distance. It'll be a 1st down.
Well, Nebraska now 1st down and goal, ball sitting at the 2-yard line. And when you have linemen averaging over 300 pounds, this is a great situation to be in.
Oh, there's no question about it. This was something that one of the musts for Colorado State was no margin for error. Well, they put themselves in a serious error situation here by that deflected interception.
Green is the tailback. Frost changing the play at the line. 2-step into the flat. Touchdown, Nebraska. Sheldon Jackson on the reception.
Second touchdown pass of the afternoon for Scott Frost. And he put some velocity on this one. He's definitely got arm strength. His accuracy is the thing that's eluded him on a real consistent basis, but he can get the football there. I mean, he can throw from the opposite hash mark and throw a sideline pattern, a frozen rope, and get it there in a heartbeat.
Chris Brown to attempt the extra point. Snaps a little high, but they get it down, and the kick is good. Brown remains perfect on the afternoon, and it didn't take Nebraska long. The interception in just over 2 minutes. They've got a couple more on the board. They lead at 31-6. Has not lost back-to-back games since 1976. It happened only once in the Tom Osborne era, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen today. 31-6, they lead it. Brown set to kick off. Once again, a good deep kick by Brown. Chris Brown, the sophomore from South Lake, Texas, used to have some pretty good locks. Said some of the defensive players held him down a few weeks ago, shaved his head. Now he says, told us yesterday, I'm going to keep it like this. It's my new image.
That's right. He shaves it before every game, I think.
That's what he said. There you see it. Nebraska scoring drive, 4 plays, 13 yards, 62 seconds.
Scott Frost likes his tight ends by the name of Jackson. He's thrown to both of them, different numbers, but the same last name. Jackson and Jackson. It's a law firm here in Lincoln. Not really.
It might be. Well, now the crowd's sensing the kill. Nebraska's showing 7 on the line of scrimmage. Moreno a couple of tight ends. He keeps it on the ground. Heading to the outside is Damon Washington. He is wrapped up at about the 25-yard line. Pickup of 5 on the play. Jamel Williams in on the stop. Jamel Williams, coaches were telling us how he was born with loose joints, they called it.
I hate when that happens.
Boy, I tell you. Played I-back in high school. Said he was an amazing runner.
Oh, yeah, he was just a slasher. I mean, a pounder at that I-back. He's a nasty defensive player. He can just fly to the football, and he does it every snap.
Had 17 tackles against Arizona State last week. 2nd and 4. Joey Porter in motion. They keep it on the ground. Close to the first down, be about a yard short.
You know, it's interesting. Nebraska now sensing, getting a pretty good idea of what Colorado State's doing by formation a little bit. And that time, Farley lined up from the outside linebacker position and bounced around on the inside. Watch him moving his way into the 8 gap between the guard and the center to blitz on the run and get involved in the tackle. I mean, he lined up on the extreme outside and moved to the inside in the gap.
On 3rd and 1. The pitch back to Washington, and he is going to be run out of bounds well short of the first down.
Farley's getting involved. He's been involved now in back-to-back plays and getting juiced up a little bit out there. The crowd's getting into it. His teammates are getting into it, and he is flying. Watch him inside-out pursuit. Here's a guy that can run. He runs the tailback down from behind. That's speed right there, folks.
He plays the game fast, doesn't he?
He really does. Absolutely. He was the guy that Dave Lay, the offensive coordinator, Colorado State, feared the most.
For good reason. McDougal set to kick. The rush is coming. He hits a line drive. Taken and dropped, and a penalty immediately. 37-yard kick. Pullman had no place to go on the return, but there is a penalty flag thrown right at the point of contact.
Is that another face mask penalty?
How could you face mask a guy when he's right in front of you like that?
I don't know what the call is here. I don't know what.
Maybe he didn't give him enough room.
Well, he didn't signal fair catch. I know that. I didn't see that.
Interference with the opportunity
to give enough
make
room.
a fair catch.
Boy, it looked like
against the kicking team in the 5-yard belt. First down.
You have to give him 5 yards, and I guess it wasn't quite 5 yards, but Olsen, a little bit surprised. He looked at the official shaking his head like, boy, I thought he had room to catch that football, but he was flagged.
Nebraska leads 31-6. Look at it again.
Now, remember, you have to give him a 5-yard buffer. And it definitely didn't give him a 5-yard buffer. He didn't really impede his vision or anything, but he was well within 5-yard area, that's for sure.
Ross looks for the pass straight down the middle, has a man, and is complete to John Vedral.
And he went right after Olsen. Olsen had the penalty called on him. He went down the middle of the football field. Olsen never turned around to find the ball. Vedral did, and he was rewarded with the reception completion.
Vedral, the former walk-on, his brother Mike played tight end for Nebraska.
Scott Frost has plenty of arm strength. I mean, that's never a question that anybody has had. Rumors are that he can throw the ball 80 yards in the air. I mean, he was a shot put champion in high school. But as you can see, Olsen never found the ball. He was concentrating too much on the receiver, never found the ball, and the receiver made the adjustment.
37 yards on the carry, and Green up to the 15-yard line. One thing Frost said, which I think impressed a lot of people, he said, it's not just up to me to replace Tommy Frazier, but the whole team's got to step up. And I think that was a pretty good point. A lot of people put so much emphasis on the quarterback, but he needed help from everyone.
Oh, you're absolutely right. There's no doubt Tommy Frazier set a standard that is almost impossible to duplicate, but he had a pretty good supporting cast. The offensive line last year might have been one of the best in the history of this program.
On 2nd and 5, first man through, nothing but Paters. Brian Schuster from the fullback position scores his first touchdown of 1996.
And that's what I was talking about earlier when I said if you're a linebacker for a defensive football team playing against Nebraska, you have to be on your toes at all time. And Scott Frost reverse pivots out of there, but he'd already given the football to his fullback. It was kind of a backdoor play. He looked like he was going to option down the line of scrimmage to the left. Schuster was already in the end zone before Colorado State could react. Great execution.
That was classic Nebraska, wasn't it?
Oh, big time.
Brown to attempt the extra point. Uh-oh. Snap is fumbled. They're going to go down with it. Well, John Vedral just couldn't get the ball down after the snap from Adam True. And the extra point is no good, but with 11:06 left to play. In the third quarter, the Huskers are opening it up here in Lincoln. They lead 37-6.
Guess which burger chain just received a #1 overall rating in a recent...
Nebraska now with over 200 more yards than Colorado State, and they have 31 more points. 37-6 is our score with 11:06 left to play in the third quarter. Chris Brown set to kick it away. Colorado State 0-5 against Nebraska here in Lincoln. The last meeting was back in 1993. They lost that game 48-13. But this Colorado State team, 3 of their first 5 games this year have been against ranked opponents. Brown really showing some leg strength. That'd have been a field goal.
Man, that's hard to do. That is tough to do.
He likes it. Colorado State takes over 1st and 10 on the 20. Let's take a look at that last touchdown by the Huskers.
Yeah, this linebacker gets blocked, but watch what happens to Taylor. As the linemen pull, watch him chase it. He thinks he's going to defend the option down the line of scrimmage, and they backdoor him. Schuster has green pastures. Nobody. He would have scored in 1 finger touch. Unbelievable.
Keep the football, young man. Well, let's see if Moreno can try to do something on the board. Being pressured, gets it out of the flat. Pickup of only 2 on the play on the completion to Justin Scholl. Jamel Williams just wrestling the big tight end out of bounds.
Oh, Jamel Williams has been probably the most consistent defensive performer. 13 tackles in game 1 against Michigan State, 17 last week, 6 tackles for losses, 3 quarterback sacks. Now he's got his first interception of the year earlier in this half. This guy's a football player all the way.
Bad for a guy who last year had both knees reconstructed. Not too bad. A lot of movement. Penalty flags are down. Washington on the carry up to the 30-yard line, close to the first down before being dropped by Warfield and Octavius McFarland.
And Wistrom, I think, as Tomich jumped. Wistrom was a little bit antsy, too. I mean, those defensive ends are listening to the quarterback too much. Look at the football. Get that peripheral vision into the ball and move when it moves.
2 completely different guys, Wistrom and Thomas. They are football players, personality-wise, 180 degrees.
Look at them both. Jumping, jumpy in that neutral zone. That's a no-go. That's a free 5-yard penalty right there. And really, they've gotten them more than once. I mean, now they're penalizing Colorado State.
Offside on the defense. 5-yard penalty.
Oh, they're just going back to walk it off.
down.
Panic there for a second, Sam. They're going to take the play instead of the game. They'll take the penalty and keep it 2nd down. So now it's 2nd and short for Colorado State to try to convert.
Moreno over on the sideline talking to Lubick. He is back out, handing the play over to the rest of the troops.
I really like this kid, though. The one thing Moreno's going to do is slide in the pocket and throw between people. Find lanes to throw between, because he's had a couple of passes tipped for interception.
2nd and 3. Right up the middle, up to the 29-yard line, it is Calvin Branch, the senior from Spring, Texas.
I tell you, he had Tomich flinching again. Moreno has got him on a string. They've got to block the quarterback out. 3rd downs. Colorado State has not converted on 3rd down all afternoon. They're 0 for 6. Nebraska on the flip side of it, 7 for 11, so that's a huge factor in this football game. And part of the reason is they haven't converted is they've been 3rd and long. This 3rd and 1, Colorado State should be able to convert to keep this drive alive.
Incredibly loud here at Memorial Stadium. They'll get the first down, but not by a whole lot. Now this offensive line has really been hurt. They've had to rebuild the offensive line for Colorado State. They lost Adam Wallace, a tackle with a leg fracture versus Oregon on the 4th play of that game. But this time they had a pretty good surge.
And watch Mike Newell. He's the guy. It's a quarterback sneak, and they wedge right up behind him. He just kind of covers his guy up. Not a quarterback sneak, I should say, just a straight dive by the fullback by Washington. He covers his man up. Nice block.
A little too much time.
We got an illegal substitution against the White.
Well, they were trying to get off the field. Jeff Turner ran out. And it looked like they were trying to get Jeremy Calhoun off the field before anything happened. And they didn't get him off soon enough.
Dead ball. Illegal substitution against the offense. Still 1st down.
Now Calhoun comes back in. Ronald Antoine comes out.
Oh, yeah, the substitution was a little bit late. You can't substitute that late outside of the hash mark because the defense doesn't have an opportunity to adjust personnel.
Jeff Turner wide to the left. Moreno, a little little play action. Looking for Turner, a little bit short on the play. And Moreno took a shot.
And that's one thing that this young kid is tough in the pocket. He stands tall in the pocket. He doesn't shy away from contact. I tell you, he really has a nice throwing arm. He really is a good leader with his football team. A little play action fake, trying to freeze the linebackers a little bit.
Oh, I'd say that was close.
Takes a little push from behind, Mr. Thomas.
Surprised that wasn't a penalty. 2nd and 15 to Washington. Maybe up to the 30-yard line. Pickup of about 3 on the play. Set up a 3rd and 12 situation.
And once again, Colorado State running the counter gap is what they call it. Everybody's got a little bit different terminology, but they pull the backside lineman. The guard kicks out, and the tackle pulls around the horn. This was made popular initially by the Washington Redskins with their Hogs and John Riggins running the ball in that one-back set. You'd have Russ Grimm and Joe Jacoby coming around the corner, and John Riggins running the ball. That was a massive humanity there.
3rd down and 12. 8 minutes left to play in the 3rd. Moreno's being rushed. Steps up in the pocket. Loses the football and is going to be dropped. Jason Wills coming in from that left tackle position. The sophomore from New Orleans, Louisiana. Oh, that's also there.
The initial disruption was by Jamel Williams. He's the one that disrupted the pocket and made Moreno step up and try to make something happen. Then his teammates all got involved in the action, but Jamel Williams came on a blitz. Let's take a look at it. Number 28 at the bottom of the screen. He defeats the running back on the blitz pickup, makes him step up in the pocket, and then all heck breaks loose from Moreno. It's all over with.
Williams having a great game today. McDougal's kick, end over end. Coleman taking it about the 37-yard line and makes his way up to about the 44. And with 7:07 left in the 3rd quarter, Nebraska leads at 37-6. Let's go to Brian Nooner on the sideline. Brian?
Thank you, Ron. You know, you saw the Nebraska black shirt defense at its finest on that last sequence. And you may be wondering, why are they called the black shirts? Well, it goes back to the mid-1960s when defensive coordinator George Kelly was here, and he had the first-team defensive unit of Nebraska wear black practice jerseys. That's simply how it started. Now, Tom Osborne told me that when Monty Kiffin came on board in the late 60s, he really exploited this idea. He got everyone involved and made it a pride factor. And as you can see by the young man that's sitting next to me, even the fans were involved. They all got the black shirts. Everybody's involved and really gets the crowd going.
Well, the defense is doing the job, and so is Amon Green. The big run for Green.
Well, a key for Colorado State was tackling. And Amon Green, a little counter action. His linemen get the blocks up the football field. A missed tackle by Olsen, and then it's off to the races. Olsen has to make that play. And as a result of him not making the tackle, Green gets an extra 30 yards. He's now got 162 yards rushing.
Frost looking for the quick hitch. Got it. Complete to Brendan Holbein. Down to the 5-yard line. Pickup of 15 on the play. Once again, this Colorado State defense ranked 110th in the NCAA.
Yeah, they're starting to, you called it early in the game, Ron. They're on the field for so many plays, they're starting to wear down. You know, you get a little bit of a break at halftime. You think you might be able to come back out and stand up to it, but Nebraska just wears on you and wears on you and wears on you. Just keeps pushing and leaning, and pretty soon you crack.
Let's see what Nebraska's done in the red zone today. This is their 59th play, 20 more than Colorado State has had. Frost has an opening, but he can't get in. Dave, we had a great angle of that. That opened up. It looked like he had nothing but golden goal posts from about the 5.
It really did. Jones looked like he made a nice recovery there to prevent a touchdown for Frost, his second rushing touchdown of the afternoon. Offensive line doing a good job up in front once again, and Schuster trying to lead him around the perimeter, but pretty good recovery back to the football by Jones.
Inside of 6 minutes, the Huskers knocking on the door again. Frost with 56 yards running the football. He's already crossed the goal line once. Touchdown, Nebraska. Amon Green taking it the final yard.
That one was too easy. I mean, he just sliced off his left tackle. Just nothing fancy. Straight dive off tackle. He could have scored touch football also.
He said he was born to be a running back. His father, 2 older brothers, both have run the football. His stepfather was an offensive lineman. He said his stepdad put the toughness in him. Everybody else showed him how to run the football. That is his first touchdown, second touchdown rushing the football this season for Ahman Green. And he has given the Huskers a 44-6 lead. Big 12 football will continue after these local messages. Chris Brown's kickoff is going to be returned, but not much. Washington with about a 20-yard return. There is Adam True. He snaps the long snaps for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. True, usually the left tackle, the 6'6 senior out of Lincoln.
Oh, you need a good snap, good hold, good kick. Snap was tough, but the holder, Vedral, bailed out True. And then the kicker, Brown, executed. That's a nice job by Vedral averting catastrophe. The hold was low, snap was low and inside. Vedral on the placement before. True had a very true snap, but Vedral couldn't handle it. So you can't take anything for granted. Good snap, good hold, good kick on every extra point is a must.
True's one of the guys I saw playing basketball. Thought he had some pretty good agility, could put on some weight. Now he's playing defense. Moreno's going to air it out long, intended for Turner, and it is incomplete, penalty flag.
Yeah, there was early contact. Brown got there before the arrival of the football. You have to allow the receiver to make an adjustment to make a play back on the ball, and Brown just ran into him.
Turner, the transfer from Iowa State, sat out last year, but in '94 had over 540 yards kickoff returns, 4th highest in school history.
Now, look at Brown's giving him a big cushion. Turner turns it up the football field. Brown turning, he's turned his head, he's making a play on the football, but he just runs right through the receiver as Turner tries to make a play on the ball. You know, in the NFL, quite honestly, that's not pass interference as long as the defensive back has his head turned trying to make a play on the ball, but college football is a little different.
Turner has 3 consecutive games, 100 yards receiving. He's closing in on that mark right now.
You know, the other thing I like about a play like this, in the NFL, that is all the way to where the infraction occurred. That's a huge pass interference. I think is the biggest penalty in the big leagues. This is just a penalty from the line of scrimmage. It's much more tolerable.
Nebraska showing 6 on the line of scrimmage. Moreno straight drop. Looks down the side, complete. That was an excellent catch by Joey Porter. Porter looked like he had taken his eyes completely off Moreno.
And they're going after the young corner, going after Brown a little bit, and just a tremendous effort by Moreno throwing the football. Gets Brown turned around. Nice move to the inside by Porter. The ball is there. I mean, really, the ball's in the air before his receiver, Porter, makes the cut. That's a timing pattern that was executed very well.
As soon as Porter turned around, the ball was hitting him in the gut.
Yep.
Jeff Turner wide to the right. Moreno again is being rushed. Airs it out, going for 6, and it is intercepted.
And then dropped. Are they calling it a touchback, though?
Calling it a touchback. It was indeed an interception.
Did he have possession? The officials are talking about it. Did he have control? They're trying to decide if it's just an incompletion or is it an interception.
Ralph Brown coming down with the Oski.
Maybe. the potential Oski.
Potential Oski. Now the officials, the hardest job they've got is keeping everybody away from them. Convention going on right here of the Zebras. Well, this is a good officiating crew that get together and talk about it. It was tough to see from our angle. And even on our replays, we understand it's very difficult to see.
And, of course, pleading his case is the young man who could benefit, Mr. Ralph Brown.
That would be his first of his collegiate career.
Did he have control? That's the question.
Interception on the 3-yard line. The momentum took him in. It'll be first down here.
Okay, I don't think it was a question of whether he intercepted it. It's probably where they were going to put it.
His momentum took him into the end zone. Exactly. He had total possession of the football. Now, were they going to call it a touchback at the 20-yard line is the discrepancy. Where does he get control of the ball? He catches it at the 4. Does he have control?
No.
Oh, boy, that's the question. Yes, he does, and the momentum takes him into the end zone. He lost the ball after he hit the ground. They mark it at the 2-yard line. Instead of a touchback, they said that he got control of the football at the 2-yard line. Nebraska takes over there.
Well, we have a new quarterback. Matt Turman, the 5'11 senior from Wahoo, Nebraska, is coming to the lineup. A lot of people were calling for him last week. He did play against Arizona State. Led him on a nice drive. Oh. Damon Benning upended at the 6.
Well, that's what happens when you go airborne. A guy like Nunn just takes your legs right out from under you, and then you have a one-point landing on your helmet or the back of your shoulder pads. But Benning wants to get his opportunity. Amon Green's had a big day. Benning bounces it to the outside, and then he gets bounced. One-point landing, Mr. Nunn.
Turman on the year, 4 of 6. 1 touchdown, no interceptions for 70 yards. Benning the I-back. Scott Frost obviously done for the day. Billy Legate, the sophomore from Elgin, Nebraska, on the carry. That is his first of the year. The 5'11 sophomore, 220 pounds. There is Scott Frost, and I think he's going to have a little bit of the pressure off. Turner Gill to our left, to Frost right. Turner Gill, former Nebraska quarterback, former professional baseball player. He was also a good one.
Very efficient numbers for Scott Frost. 13 of 18, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's a decent day's work right there. And it was simple. The passing game was simple also. They kept it basic.
Turman sees the seam, makes his way up to the 17, 18-yard line before being brought down by Clark Higgins. Let's take a look at our Dr. Pepper scorer roundup. Dr. Pepper and your local bottler bring you this. Miami is all over Pitt still. Clemson leading Wake Forest by 11 in the 3rd. Navy and Boston College knotted up in the 3rd. Purdue doubling up North Carolina State. Northwestern by 11 in the 4th over Indiana. Still a lot of time left. Mississippi State over South Carolina. That is also in the 3rd. 1st and 10, ball on the 19 for the Huskers. Turman going deep. He has a man intended for Sheldon Jackson. Jackson split the defense right down the middle, and the big 6'4 sophomore tight end from Diamond Bar, California couldn't come up with it.
Well, there's a lot of substitutes, some second offensive linemen, backup offensive linemen in there doing a pretty good job for Turman, giving him protection, a little play action fake. He tries for the whole banana down the football field to Jackson, just overthrows him, and Turman says, I have him. Oh, I don't have him. I just overthrew that bad boy just a little bit.
2nd and 10 for Nebraska, leading 44-6, 3:30 left to play in the 3rd quarter. They're going to keep it on the ground. Benning crosses the 30 up to the 31-yard line. Pickup of 12 on the play.
Man, I'll tell you what, you talk about this is a whole stack of pancakes on this block from Matt. I hope I'm saying his last name right. I don't know how to say it to tell you. Watch 51 in the red. Boom. Kwame drills. I mean, he just pancakes them and throws syrup on top of them. I mean, that was unbelievable. I need to buy a vowel from Vanna White. It's V-R-Z-A-L. I guess it's Virzel. That's how you say it. But I'll tell you what, however you say his name, Mr. Virzel, that was a heck of a block.
That is a heck of a defensive play right there for Colorado State. Clark Higgins, the redshirt freshman from Torrance, California, slashing in to make the stop.
More scores, ripping across the screen. Missouri, Iowa State. Missouri had a big win last week against Clemson.
SMU's done well this year, but they trail BYU and elsewhere in the WAC. Air Force over Rice in the 2nd.
You know, all the academies are playing well. Army, the Air Force, Navy, they were undefeated coming into this weekend collectively.
2nd down and 14. Upstairs, incomplete. Virzel, that's how you pronounce it. Finally looked it up. Virzel. You're right. You had it.
I better have it, because he'll come up and pancake me, man.
Oh, without his helmet on, he's got that goatee, that World Wrestling Federation look from Grand Island, Nebraska.
I'll tell you what, that was an excellent block. That's a definite knockdown. That's a waffle belly. That's not a pancake. That's a waffle belly when you knock him down and run up on his chest a little bit.
He is also a big one. 3rd down and 14 for the Huskers. Little play action pass. They throw it out into the flat. It is complete to the 30-yard line. It'll be short of the first down. Legate fights his way for a couple of more.
Gee, you talk about breaking tackles. You can't tackle the Huskers high. They've got such unbelievable leg strength from working out in that weight room. They just drive and push, and Legate just ran right through it. Excellent effort. Take a look at Legate here. He's the fullback, number 40, works into the flat. The ball's delivered accurately. Watch him run right through this. High contact. You have to hit lower than that. That's much too high by none, and he just carries him. Legate, that was great leg strength.
Push set the punt. He's averaging 53 yards a kick. Colorado State comes with everything, and the flags are down. That'll be a roughing the kicker call, so Ronald Antoine might as well just sit down. Colorado State had the rush on, but Dave, they went at him instead of where the ball is going to be.
Yeah, I think they got none for running into the kicker. Let's see if this is the 5 or the 15.
That was a 58-yard kick, though, by Jesse Cush.
Boy, so it obviously didn't bother his follow-through.
Not a bit.
Whew. That was a howitzer.
I think they are going to call it on Tetris Nunn.
Yeah, Nunn is the guy that ran into him. Let's see now. They're going to measure here because it's only the 5-yard variety, so I guess they want to see if they have the first down or not.
Let's listen in on the call. Referee Hal Dowden.
Running into the kicker against the defense. 5-yard penalty. The penalty makes it a first down.
So that it is, even though it's only 5 instead of 15, it does give it enough for a first down conversion, and Nebraska maintains possession of the football. There's 2 different penalties, running into the kicker and roughing the kicker. This is the one where they called running into the kicker, and watch number 23 in the white. Definitely runs into him. Now he is being engaged by a blocker, and I think that was a factor in the call. But boy, look at the leg extension. Follow through. Boy, that's dangerous. That's why they call it. You can break your foot, break your ankle, following through into a helmet like that.
Nebraska takes over, 2:22 left in the 3rd. Benning, left side, cannot turn the corner, but he does stiff arm his way up to the 45-yard line before Myron Terry, the sophomore from Los Angeles, California, comes up with a stop.
You know, there was another knockdown on that play by the fullback, and as I mentioned earlier, the offensive linemen, they in the stat sheets, they keep track of pancakes for all the offensive linemen. Well, for the running backs and the wide receivers, they talk about knockdowns also. And if they get an 80 snaps in the course of a football game, usually there's 100 people that are on the ground collectively by the offensive unit when they're on a roll. And today they're on a roll. There have been a lot of Colorado State guys on the ground.
They go to the first man through, and he's going to be stacked up. Right at the line of scrimmage is the Colorado State defense led by Eric Vaughn from that middle linebacker position. Put the hit on Billy Legate.
Close the gate on Legate.
Big time. Now, this Colorado State team has been known for defense. They led the WAC in defense 2 of the last 3 years, but they had to replace a couple of great ones, defensive end Brady Smith and Sean Moran.
Well, as well as in the secondary, Greg Myers, a 5th-round pick by the Bengals, and the Buffalo Bills took Ray Jackson at corner. They've got 4 guys that were drafted from the 3rd to 5th round, all made their respective teams in the NFL. 4 players off that defense.
Well, they were counting on a pride factor today defensively, but that sometimes doesn't get it when you're playing such great athletes like Nebraska. Herman rolls out, has a man, and it's incomplete. Right into the hands of Kenny Cheatham.
Well, Cheatham was deciding if he was going to spin or turn it to the inside before he caught the football. He was making his first move. Do I pivot inside or outside? And he lost concentration on the most important thing, the point of the football. You got to look it in. You couldn't throw the football any better than it was thrown right here. He put it right on his number. But watch what Cheatham does. He takes his eyes off. Oh, I'm thinking about turning to the outside. He lost track of the football. You got to catch it first.
Cheatham with only 1 reception so far this year. A young man that's had track and basketball scholarship offers. He's a 6'4", 210-pounder. 10 men on the line again. And on 4th down, Cush's punt is going to be a little shorter than the last one. Antoine at the 20. He is going to be stacked up at the 21. Well, Jesse Cush has had a pretty good day today. He's had an active day. Brian, what do you have on him?
He is known as the weatherman among the Nebraska teammates because he's studying to be a meteorologist. And Tom Osborne asked him each week of practice, what are the weather conditions going to be on Saturday, game day? He's been pretty accurate, but he says, you know, that's kind of boring just giving the conditions. So he and Chris Brown load up in a car at times, and they chase thunderstorms, kind of trying to find some tornadoes. I asked Brown, have you found any yet? And he said, no, not in Nebraska, but we're thinking about heading over to Kansas. Now, Dave, they say they have plenty of room in the car if you want to go along.
Only if Toto and Annie M's over there in Kansas, then I'll go along.
Kickers have entirely too much time on their hands. These guys got to do something else. Chris Brown was quite a character yesterday, so we got a real kick out of talking to him.
Yeah, he doesn't have the normal kicker mentality.
No, he doesn't, does he?
He's more like a mad dog defensive position player.
I hope his parents don't have a satellite dish down in Texas. Especially since I'm moving there. 44 seconds left to play in the 3rd quarter, 44-6. Nebraska's really opened it up here just using their size and their depth. Now Moreno telling Turner to back off the line of scrimmage, and he does. 5-step drop, Turner in the flat, complete. And he's hit hard, but not before he gets the 1st down.
Well, that slant pattern has been very, very good to Colorado State, and the corners are giving up the inside. They're playing outside technique, but the linebackers and safeties just aren't running out to give that inside support soon enough. So they're finding a little seam in that zone, and Turner and Moreno are taking advantage of it. You know, I'll tell you, Ron, I thought that Colorado State had a great game plan, both offensively and defensively against Nebraska, but sometimes the other team's X's are bigger than your O's. They're bigger, they're faster, they're stronger, and no matter how you game plan, if you have physical mismatches in X's and O's, it's a tough thing to fulfill.
Well, better than 75,000. Most of them dressed in red and white have enjoyed the first 45 minutes of play. We have 15 left at a sold-out Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, and the Huskers lead it handily. Of the state are in Memorial Stadium. They lead at 44-6, 15 minutes left. Along with Brian Nooner and Dave Lapham, I'm Ron Poole. Our final time with Mr. Lapham this year. Eric Dickerson returns to our crew next week.
Hey, it was fun, Ron. Always is.
I'll tell you what, we eat a lot more with you. That's for darn sure.
It was a great place last night, man. There was some serious protein overdose going on.
Moreno straight drop back, looks over the middle, pass is complete. Ronald Antoine with the crossing route in traffic, but Moreno once again showing that arm strength.
He definitely has zip on the football. There's it's tight revolutions of that spiral, and I tell you what, it gets there in a heartbeat. You can hang your clothes on this frozen rope that Moreno's going to hurl right here. Steps up in the pocket, great release, quick release, and I'll tell you, that's working against the best cover guy that Nebraska has to offer.
Brown. 1st and 10, ball on the 34-yard line of Nebraska. Colorado State now trying to get something to go for the pride factor. Their running game just hasn't been what they had hoped to. A couple of flags thrown in the defensive backfield.
Well, you got to think both of them may have seen a holding call occur there or something.
They all were thrown at the same time.
Looks like maybe holding out on the perimeter must have been very visible because there were hankies everywhere. Oh, illegal block. It was an illegal crackback block. Must have happened. You can't, when you crack back, you can't hit below the knees.
That looked like Joey Porter kind of turned his head when the officials made the motion, the H-back for Colorado State.
Now, when you come in outside in, motion from the outside in, and you crack back on a linebacker, you got to hit him above the waist.
Illegal block by the offense. 15-yard penalty. Repeat 1st down.
So Colorado State looks like they're trying to make some headway offensively, and then they're pushed back by a penalty.
Yeah, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And we mentioned one of the big musts for Colorado was no margin for error. Well, they've had way too much error in this football game, Ron, to stay competitive with a team the quality of Nebraska in their stadium.
1st and 22, ball pushed back to the 46-yard line. Still in Nebraska territory. Moreno Moreno gets rid of it quickly. It is complete to Jeff Turner. Gets by the defender down to the 15-yard line and knocked out of bounds at the 13.
He ran away from Brown. Turner just pivoted away from Brown, and he picked up quite a few more yards.
Picked up 33 on the play.
Moreno, I'll tell you, he doesn't get discouraged. He fires and falls back. Look at Brown with the inside technique, giving plenty of cushion off the line of scrimmage. Turner drives him off the line, and Brown loses his footing and then misses the tackle. And Turner just picks up an extra 20 yards as a result of that. Nice route, good effort.
That makes 4 consecutive games. He has gone over 100 yards in receiving. Ball's on the 12, 1st and 10. They're going to keep it on the ground up to the 10-yard line and the line of scrimmage.
Somebody ran out of their shoe. There's a shoe sitting at the 22-yard line. Somebody just came right out of their footwear.
Calvin Branch. No, he doesn't have it on.
No,
he blew a tire.
Yeah, he did. I tell you, the wheel's there, but the tread's gone. There's no rubber on that wheel.
Still a little tough to run.
Man, Calvin Branch.
2nd down and 8.
Boy, Colorado State certainly has had an ambitious schedule, non-conference schedule this year, though, Ron. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But Moreno creeping up on 250 yards passing again.
This young man's got a very bright future. Rolls out left, has the time, has a man. It was completed, dropped. Justin Scholl had it in his hands.
And then Farley kissed him. I mean, gave him a shot to the chops. Once he didn't control the ball.
And Scholl is no small guy at 6'3", 245.
Right. Farley, he has some dynamite under those shoulder pads, and he runs around the football field carrying those pads big time and detonates. And watch Farley here. As the big tight end can't control it, Farley says, "I'll punish you then." Ba-boom. That is a shot.
And he does. If you were Nebraska coaches, Dave, yes, you're winning big, 44-6. But Colorado State's averaging almost 6 yards a play. That is not very good.
And they're 1 for 8 on 3rd down. And this is 3rd and long. That's very bad.
Moreno the long snap. They keep it on the ground, and there's not much there.
Make it 1 for 9. That's a big factor in this football game. 1 for 9 on 3rd down. They've done a lot of their damage on early downs, obviously.
Branch didn't have very much running room. And Colorado State's going to come in and attempt the field goal. Matt McDougal had one blocked in the 1st quarter, which stalled their opening drive.
You know, Ron, when you're Colorado State, though, and you play Colorado, Oregon, and Nebraska, that's a heavy-duty challenge. And if you get beaten up physically, then you have to go into the WAC and play your conference. Sometimes you wonder if it's the smartest thing to do to play all those good programs non-conference.
Esslinger to hold, the kick, up and away. They hook it through, and it is good. So Matt McDougal is now 4 of 6, or 4 of 7 on the year. He cuts the Nebraska lead to 44-9, 12:38 left in the ball game. 38 left to play in the ball game. Nebraska leads it 44-9. And it has been all Nebraska's offense. They have put together 464 yards total offense to 267 for Colorado State. McDougal set to kick it away. It'll be fielded on the 5 by Evans. Up to the 30, breaks a tackle nearing the 40-yard line. D'Angelo Evans brought down by Willie Taylor. Let's take a look at our Southwest Airlines storyline. Southwest Airlines, low fares, every flight, every seat, every day. Good day for Frost.
Very good day, very efficient day. He showed an ability to rebound from a tough performance, showed resiliency, and Nebraska certainly did their damage in the 3rd quarter. Moreno hung tough, though. He's still hanging tough.
He is. But that 3rd quarter, scoring drives a minute 17 less. But there was not much frost on the ground today. Has there been, Dave?
No, absolutely. No frost early in this year, today anyway.
Terman at quarterback. Jay Sims is the new halfback, and he has the football, and he crosses the 40 up to the 41-yard line. Eric Vaughn, the middle linebacker from Colorado Springs, makes the stop.
I'll tell you, Whiting at the wingback position had an excellent crack block. I mean, he motioned inside, hit his man above the line of scrimmage, then worked his way down his body and cut him at the end of the play. Everybody's getting a chance to participate this afternoon. That's what Coach Tom Osborne likes, because, hey, you practice all week, you get a payday, you get a little reward on Saturday.
Keep Keep it on the ground as Sims again, and he crosses the 45 up to about the 47-yard line. And that's something that they do in the spring practice and also in the fall. As far as their offensive line, they run 4 or 5 units on the offensive line. Everybody gets the reps. They're ready to start when they're junior and seniors, but they also get some type of experience then.
Ron, you're absolutely right. And they do scrimmage a little bit. 1s against 1s, 2s against 2s. And you're right. They have so many repetitions. By the time they're redshirt seniors, they are so efficient and productive up front of the offensive line. They just replace All-American with another candidate.
2 tight ends for Nebraska. 1 lone setback on 3rd and 2. Herman's going to keep it, tries to turn the corner, does, and he gets the first down as he goes inside in Colorado State territory. Sherman at only 5'11", 185 pounds, used every bit of that to get the first.
Yeah, sometimes it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. And Sherman was fighting for that first down.
You might remember a couple of years ago against the Oklahoma State Cowboys, he came in back in '94 and led the Huskers to victory, so he is not new to competition.
Understands the offense. He could probably install it as well as the offensive coaching staff.
And he has been a very patient, good soldier the last couple of years. Was the 3rd-team quarterback last year. Nice ball fake. Herman on a run for his life. Gets a block, crosses the 45, runs out of bounds.
That was a great play by his intended receiver, the tight end Aaron Wills. Determined, had a run pass option. Wills was his tight end on the naked bootleg that was his target. And he decided, look, I'm not going to throw it to you, but I'll direct you traffic-wise. Come back and get a little peel-back block. Watch 81 in the red jersey. There he is in front, presents himself to the receiver. Determined, says, now come back. Boom. Gets the block. Nice effort by the tight end.
Wills getting some playing time and taking advantage of it. 2nd and 6. Sims spins his way inside the 45 down to the 43-yard line. Jay Sims coming into this game had only carried 5 times for a couple of yards, or 2 times for 5 yards. He's already matched that this afternoon.
You know, I'm sure that Coach Tom Osborne and his staff is going to be happy with the way that the entire team rebounded. I mean, there's no doubt that 19-0 defeat at the hands of Arizona State really let the air out of the balloon. But they practiced hard all week, and they wanted to make a restitution for what they did today.
3rd down. Herman held the pitch long enough, gives it up at the exact right time. Sims may have paid her. 1 man to beat. Down to the 5-yard line, and he is corralled. Herman showed exceptional patience on that pitch. He waited till one of the defensive players ran by him. Then he dished it off to Sims, who did the rest.
Boy, Ron, just as you call it, I mean, a quarterback really, he takes one for the team here, basically. I mean, he realizes, he turns it up the football field, knows he's going to get hit, holds it to the last minute before he takes the shot. That's just an excellent read by a heady quarterback, and then Sims is the beneficiary. Nebraska, over 500 yards of total offense run, 520 yards offense.
Well, this is the Nebraska everybody thought would be like in 1996. First man through down to the 2-yard line, and is Billy Legate. Well, Legate looks like one tough cookie, too. He's 220 pounds, but he's got that bull neck and everything.
That's right. It looks like he swallowed a bowling ball, and then it gets kind of bigger from there. I mean, short, squatty, typical fire hydrant type fullback. He's basically a pectoral and quadricep muscle out there. You know, I mean, it's all you got. Not a whole lot of long body out there.
I got to write that bad boy down. Nearing 9 minutes. 24-9 is our score. Herman pitches it back to Sims. He's got most of the yardage on this drive, and he gets the final few. Sims with his first touchdown of 1996.
People say, Nebraska runs the score up. Hey, Coach Osborne has the substitutes in there, but this is good football players. I mean, they're trying to get more playing time. So basically, they're out there. They're not going to give it up. They're out there working hard, and Colorado State a little bit tired. And they pump it in the end zone once again.
Even a backup kicker, Ted Retzlaff, the backup field goal kicker, in for the extra point. We have a penalty flag thrown. He puts it through the uprights. But we'll have to see. So Coach Osborne getting everybody in.
And you got to like that. I mean, you know, like I said before, you work hard all week at practice. It's great to get an opportunity to participate in the game. You know, you usually do on special teams, but now they're getting some snaps from scrimmage, which is great.
Well, the extra point is good. The penalty was against Colorado State.
Outside, on the defense. The point's good. We'll penalize 5 yards on the kickoff.
And we have timeout. 9:07 left to play in the ball game. We'll be back right after this word from Sonic Drive-In, where we invite you to drive in for a change. Nebraska on their way to the school's 700th victory. They lead it 51-9. We have still over 9 minutes left to play in this ball game. Damon Washington takes it inside the 5, has some running room, crosses the 20 up to the 24-yard line. Now, earlier this week, comments were made and released by a judge in Kansas City who was hearing the Lawrence Phillips situation. And the judge said that he wanted to see what was going on in Nebraska and thought there should be a full-blown investigation. Tom Osborne didn't agree.
Well, the concern I had was that people at Nebraska did look very hard at every aspect of Lawrence Phillips' case and every other situation that we had. And we made the very best decision that we could on the facts and the information that we had. And we certainly didn't hide anything. We did not try to ignore anything. And we just had to go on what everybody told us, the police reports, everybody involved, and that's what we did. And so if someone has other information now, all of a sudden, it's kind of like Monday morning quarterbacking, where somebody has a different viewpoint, and it's very easy after the fact to say, well, what you should have done. But obviously, you know, we're labeled, I guess, or I've been labeled as a win-at-all-cost coach, and maybe I am, but I certainly would not have played a young man if I felt he was guilty of some of the things that he's been alleged to have done. So anyway, we felt bad about that, but we did just make the comment that we had to go on what everyone told us were the facts, and we think that we acted responsibly on that information.
Well, the judge that was seeing that case, his comments came out. The press got the comments, the transcripts that were made a few weeks ago. And he wasn't sure about what was going on up here. Well, Judge, here's what's going on up here. How about 49 academic All-Americans, the most in football since 1952. Tom Osborne has a graduation rate of his players of better than 75% as Moreno goes up top. And the pass is incomplete. His graduation rate is the best in the Big 12. He has numerous academic All-Americans. So I think before the judge starts making comments about what's going on up here, I think he should maybe take off his robe and come on up here and listen to the task force. Ooh. I thought that was an irresponsible comment by that judge.
I thought it was too, particularly since it was decided out of court, settled out of court. I don't know, it makes you wonder if the judge was just looking for a little national publicity. But
well, this man is above reproach.
This guy, he's a quality individual. There's no doubt about it. Tom Osborne is about as decent a man as you're going to meet. There is no doubt.
And whatever you read, folks, Tom Osborne is a wonderful man. Meanwhile, back to football. Moreno completes it to Antoine, who takes quite a shot up to the head. He makes his way up to the 41-yard line.
Well, Moreno is not going to give up on this football game. He's going to fire and fall back and do it again and again and again. I mean, he wants to bring some numbers up. He's 13 of 25 now on the afternoon, completing over 50%. He's 255 yards, so every game he's thrown for at least 250 yards, and he's thrown a touchdown pass in every game. So he's got, you know, double-digit touchdown passes on the year. He's getting it done.
Ball's on a 41, 1st and 10. Moreno's being rushed. Scrambles out of the pocket, still on his feet. Throws up the prayer, and it's not answered. Intended for Eli Workman, the tight end.
What an effort, though.
Well, I tell you, he was scrambling for his life.
Yeah, he was Ben Gazzara. He was running for his life full speed, and he eluded some big people. You know, big defensive lineman gets the grip on him, but he can't hold on to Moreno. Sometimes you move and run faster than you can. And the big defensive lineman trying to swing him down, offensive lineman peels him off. Moreno just backpedaling now and throwing off that back foot. Incompletion, though. He avoided giving up the lost yardage.
This Colorado State offense has 29 less plays than the Nebraska offense. Moreno on the ground to Washington. Ball is loose. Everybody's diving for it. I think Colorado State may have gotten it back.
A little tug of war happening right now. Let's see. The ball might have exchanged possession. Nebraska's already out with it. They came walking out with the football. Holding it aloft is Steve Warren.
Well, Nebraska did get it.
Steve Warren saying, here it is, take it.
Well, despite the fact that Colorado State averaging just a shade under 6 yards every time they touch the ball, they come up with a mistake.
Washington not in agreement with the call. If you can read lips, you can definitely see that he wasn't in agreement. Little counter tray action, and the ball has definitely popped out of there. I don't know what he's complaining about. The ball was out long before he hit the turf, and the big fella falls on top of it immediately is Steve Warren.
Well, Damon has to take a seat. Nebraska takes over, 7.5 left to play in the ball game. D'Angelo Evans, who said there he's going to be a great one, that shows some signs of just that.
This guy is exciting. In high school, he was like 4th all-time in yards and 5th all-time in touchdowns scored, and he missed a bunch of games his senior year. He is a water bug. He's exciting as it gets. Take a look at him here. Pretty good blocking up front. He bounces it to the outside board. Does he move laterally in a heartbeat? Runs through a tackle. He shows speed, agility, and power in one run.
About a 19-yard pickup on that play, and he gets a little bit more on that one. The true freshman from Wichita, Kansas, 5'9", 210 pounds, and we've seen the Barry Sanders type running back. A lot of 5'9", 5'10ers now.
Yeah, and 210 pounds. I mean, that's put together.
The limit.
That's put together. He's look at how thick those thighs are. He's got a hind quarter on him that won't quit. You can't wrap him up that easily. He doesn't give you much of a target to hit either. You know, he has a little forward lean, and once again, he's like tackling a pectoral and a quadricep.
We have another new quarterback in, Jeff Perino, the 6'2" redshirt freshman from Durango. He hands it off to Evans again. Well, we talked about the high potent Colorado State offense, what they've done during the year. Let's see what they've done this afternoon.
Well, rushing is where it's dramatically down. You know, their total yards are down, but passing the football, they're close. But they're close to 200 yards away from their season average. We said at the beginning of the game that they had to rush for 100 yards or more to stay competitive, and they're not even halfway there yet, and that's been the problem.
Again, already 30 yards on 3 rushes, and he's going to get his first touchdown of his collegiate career.
Four carries for 60 yards in that drive. That was Evans's touchdown drive right there. Boy, is he excited. There's a look at the future right there. He's the 5th Nebraska running back today to have over 50 yards rushing. The 5th one. Man, oh man, they're getting everybody involved in the action here today.
And Washington coughing up the footballs, the one that set it up. Retzliff's extra point through the uprights. D'Angelo Evans, his first collegiate touchdown. 6:09 left to play in the ball game, and a big front line blowing him out again.
Boy, and they're blocking down the football field, and that's what you have to do when you have a back like this. Somebody has to get a downfield block, because once he breaks the front 7, he can go the distance just like he does here.
Big 12 football will continue after these local messages.
Off. Watch him turn his shoulders up the field. Boom. Gets those shoulder pads square. The most highly recruited running back out of high school last year, and you can see why. He's short, compact, explosive. He's the real deal. Nice run by Angelo Evans for his first collegiate touchdown.
Well, we have a new quarterback for Colorado State. Dave Moses Moreno is going to take a seat. Number 12, Ryan Esslinger, is checked into the lineup. This is Damon Washington trying to turn the corner, not able to do it. Esslinger, a 6'2" sophomore out of Pueblo, Colorado. Has completed 1 of 4 passes for 6 yards this year. No touchdowns. But he is behind a good one.
Yeah, Moreno upheld his end of the bargain to get a Nebraska play. He made the play. That's Eric Johnson, I believe, made the play on that, and he made the tackle, and he's kind of definite hitching his get along as he makes his way to the sideline under his own power, though.
That's amazing. I've been to a lot of football games, Dave, but with 5.5 minutes left, your team is up by 49. There's still 75,000 red shirts here.
Oh, this is diehard.
It's going to make it tough for our producer to get to the airport, catch that flight. That's too bad. Esslinger's first pass is caught and then dropped. Right into the hands of Derek Ewell, the tight end, number 86. That has happened a couple of times to Colorado State QBs this afternoon.
And this one, I didn't really notice him taking his eyes off the football. I think he just basically had an allergic reaction to the pigskin. Just clank.
Long time. How about 34 years since this stadium was not sold out? 210 consecutive. See the press box on the left? That's probably going to be renovated the next couple of years here in Lincoln.
Yeah.
They're talking about putting suites in. Esslinger's pass is knocked down, almost intercepted. Boy, when you just smell that blood, everybody gets into it. Steve Warren, a defensive tackle, number 85, is the one who came up with the tip.
And this Moreno's had a couple of interceptions off of deflected balls, and pass rush lanes just kind of occupied by the Cornhuskers. Can't find a lane to throw it through, and it's knocked to the ground.
McDougal set to kick. Snap is good. Very little rush, end over end. Fielded at the 45 by J.R. Edwards. And he is going to be stacked up just after about a 2-yard gain. 5:36 left to play in this ball game, and the Huskers are back on the winning track. They lead it in a big way. Back right after this word from Dr. Pepper, and it's 85 Dr. Pepper bottlers. Happy to bring you this inaugural season of Big 12 football. Our score. We're in the fourth quarter. For those of you who have thrown a little dirt on the body here at Nebraska after last week's loss to Arizona State, you're a little premature on that. The road to a national title is going to be difficult, but it's not impossible. D'Angelo Evans on the carry. One of the important aspects of this football program at Nebraska is their walk-on program. A lot of the starters have also walked on, and here are the names.
Oh, you take a look at some good football players right there. I mean, a lot of schools would love to have players of this caliber in their program. Nebraska's the only school in the state. Colorado State, Colorado fight for it. Kansas State fight for it. This is the only one in the state of Nebraska.
Evans again dancing his way close to the 40-yard line.
So you get a lot of quality high school players in the state of Nebraska that want to come to school at the state university and participate in football, and they've had a lot of great players develop through that walk-on program, and then of course you start to gain some momentum with the success that they've had. They get players from all over the country to go along with it.
1st and 10, ball on the 41. Evans is going to take a breather. Jeff Marino is the quarterback. Hands it off, first man through, up to the 32-yard line. Josh Cobb, a fullback in a reserve role.
And that's the part of the option that hurts the defense the most, is when you can hammer the fullback right in the belly of the defense and be successful doing it. Straight line. The shortest distance between the goalposts is right up the football field, north and south. That's the course that Nebraska took that time.
And Kingston checks in at the fullback spot, number 22. Tom Osborne letting everybody play today. Jay Sims around the left side, crosses the 20 down to the 18-yard line. Pickup of 14 on the play for Sims. Willie Taylor has to come up and make the stop.
Once again, I think it might have been Olsen that missed the tackle at the safety spot. I thought that was the key to the football game. Colorado State was going to commit 9 people to stopping the run, the strong and free safety. And if Nebraska's running backs were going to be able to break tackles of those safeties, it's going to be a long day for the Rams. And that's exactly what's happened for the most part. Nebraska has broken the tackles of the unblocked safeties and got big plays out of it.
Well, Sonny Lubick is concerned that his WAC season starts, and there's still a lot riding on this season. And he knows it really begins in earnest next week. And the 59-year-old Sonny Lubick, who has a couple of national titles when he was at Miami under Dennis Erickson.
Back-to-back WAC titles here at Colorado State, but As we mentioned earlier, Ron, a lot of his defensive stalwarts graduated to the National Football League, and rebuilding that defense now. Young guys getting experience while they're playing.
2nd down and 7, ball sitting on the 15. The red guys are knocking on the door again. Ben Kingston is stopped right at the line. 3rd down and 6. Take a look at our Dr. Pepper Roundup. Colorado leading A&M, and Miami has defeated Pitt. Pitched a shutout. Clemson over Wake Forest by 11. That is the final.
For the Huskers, number 9.
Boston College comes back to beat Navy by 5. 3rd down and 6. Ball on the 14-yard line. First man through, crossing the 10 down to the 8-yard line is Josh Cobb, a fullback, number 42. Other scores: Purdue doubles up North Carolina State. Northwestern gets by Indiana by 18. Mississippi State leading Brad Scott in South Carolina, and Michigan State pitching a blank to Eastern Michigan. Missouri over Iowa State by 4. BYU on top of the Mustangs at halftime. And Air Force by 4 over Rice. That is also at intermission. 4th down and a yard to go. And I don't think they got it.
And speaking of fourths, the 4th quarterback from Nebraska is in the game, Monte Cristo, the count.
You took my line. I was really looking forward to that. Well, Monty had one play, but he can say he got on the turf. Now, this is a big game, believe it or not, for John Blake and the Oklahoma Sooners. They're beginning to rattle the chains down in Norman, and they're trailing Tulsa 10-7 still early on. But boy, if John Blake does not put a win on this one, it could be a very, very long season for the Sooners.
Boy, it's amazing how far that program fell so quickly.
And in the big battle, Ohio State leading Notre Dame by 5 in a second. Colorado State takes over. Esslinger going for the home run toss, and it is incomplete. Looking for Jeff Turner, streaking down the left sideline.
Well, Nebraska's in their conservative defensive configuration. You're going to have safeties 20 yards down the football field playing a deep zone. They're going to break on the football when it's airborne. I mean, they're not going to let people run by them at this point in time of the football game. So Colorado State's going to have to be patient, even though there's little time left in this game, and work the underneath stuff a little bit.
Nebraska travels to Manhattan, Kansas next week to take on Kansas State. That is a very good football team.
Be a good matchup. And they're going to in another hostile environment. Maybe they learned a little bit out there at Arizona State in the learning curve.
Colorado State keeping it on the ground with Calvin Branch, and he is going to be dropped for a loss of 5 on the play.
You know, that's one thing that Coach Osborne mentioned, Ron, in our discussions with him yesterday. He said he underestimated the level of the crowd noise out there at Arizona State. And as you mentioned this week at practice, they're practicing with extensive crowd noise. I think in anticipation of another situation in Kansas State that'll be exactly that. The best way to cure that type of crowd environment, though, to make a big play early and they sit on their hands a little bit. And Nebraska didn't take advantage of big play opportunities early in the game, and the momentum of the crowd just built and built, and it was like a tidal wave coming at them, volume upon volume, and just turning that decibel level up, and then it just started to unfold. Murphy's Law took effect.
Well, Nebraska has rushed for 476 yards. They've totaled 628 total offense to Colorado State's 302. They have had their way offensively, and that's why they lead it by such a big margin, 58-9. Of course, next week we will be in Norman, Oklahoma. The Kansas Jayhawks pay a visit to the Oklahoma Sooners and John Blake, who will do a good job down there, but it's going to take some time.
Yeah, there's going to be some patience, and I know in a football-rich tradition like that I know you're so familiar with, Ron, patience is not maybe necessarily the greatest virtue over there.
Well, you know, the two things they did good down there, first of all, hiring John Blake. I've known him since he played at Sand Springs, Oklahoma. He's a good one. But they hired Steve Owens as their athletic director. And we talked about the Nebraska pride and their family. They've got all family down there in Norman now, and that's a positive.
Can build with that.
3rd down and 14 for Colorado State. Esslinger, straight drop, throws it, almost intercepted. Should have hit the cutoff man.
Yes.
Let's take a look at our Dr. Pepper player of the game. And today's player of the game is Scott Frost. And it's brought to you by Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Not a bad day for Scott.
Yeah, threw for 2, ran for 1. I think he should maybe, crack 5 Dr. Peppers for his offensive line, put him in a frosty mug, and
there you
all
go.
Celebrate a little bit.
Former safety from Stanford. Both his parents played here at Nebraska. His father played under Bob Devaney. His mom actually was a discus thrower on the track team, made the Olympic team.
Yep. As I said before, Scott Frost won the state shot put championship as a senior in high school, and he beat his right tackle, Eric Anderson.
We may add to the score here. Wow. Chevin Wiggins takes it down. Touchdown, Nebraska.
Well, when you have a bunch of players on your football team that run 10-3 to 10-5 meter hundreds, 100 meters, I should say, that's what happens to you. That speed flows over to special teams in the kicking game. Wiggins can fly.
Boy, I tell you, not bad. 5'11", 190 pounds, sophomore from Palmetto, Florida, Manatee High School.
Speed kills, and Nebraska has a lot of it. They've got tremendous defensive team speed. Normally that means tremendous speed in your kicking game.
They always return to home.
Yes, they do.
The extra point is good. And Nebraska has hung 65 on Colorado State. Look at it again.
Look at the wall forming. All the red jerseys to the left of the screen. Wiggins breaks the tackle right there. Once again, sloppy tackling. He cuts it up inside of the wall and then busts it to the outside, and just speed takes over, outruns everybody. But if a tackle was made by the kill man covering the punt, it would have been a moot point. But that was the biggest, another big key for Colorado State this afternoon. Defensively and in the kicking game was sure tackling, and it hasn't been that way for them most of the day.
Now the winning streak here at home will continue. The last loss was to Washington by 15 back in 1991.
Now, over the last 9 years, they'll have a home record of 53 wins and 2 defeats.
That's amazing.
That dog will hunt. 182 return yards? Boy, they've got a lot. They got about, what, 600 and whatever yards total offense, don't they?
628 total offense.
Jeez, we're starting to get up in some serious football fields here.
Colorado State's defense has been on the field 42 more plays than a Nebraska defense. That wears you down when you're going against those big hosses. Damon Washington crosses the 25 on the kickoff return. 60 seconds left to be played in this ball game.
Way over there. After you guys playing a game as well.
Sheldon Jackson talking to the fans and coaches.
Oh, hello. How y'all doing?
Good. We're doing fine. Yourself? You can smile now. Bruce Snyder at Kansas State, they even sometimes shoot the sidelines. They want to make sure their players aren't mugging for the camera.
Yeah.
Esslinger's handoff to Branch, tries to add to the numbers. Almost up to the 40-yard line. Branch had only 24 yards on 11 carries coming into that carry.
I'll tell you, Washington and Branch are quality running backs, though. I mean, they didn't rack up the numbers today that they had going into prior to today's game for the season. But you can see that there's definitely talent there, and they give a nice little combination. One the slasher and the other one the cutback guy, and they do a nice job.
And they're also without Jamie Blake, a sophomore out of San Diego, California, injured a knee. He is out.
Right.
So they're really one running back short.
Got him in the neutral zone again.
Penalty flags all over the field with 45 seconds left to be played in the ball game.
Jumpy, 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 and this time looks like Bryce Miller was the individual that was in the neutral zone.
Hell, Eric Stokes, the free safety for Nebraska, said we want to come home and have a party. I think they can start that partying part right about now.
Well, there's very little evidence of an emotional hangover of the 19-0 shutout last week at the hands of Arizona State. And during the course of the season, a way to enjoy success.
5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Is selective amnesia. Remember the good things and forget the bad, and but learn by them. You know, as I said before, I don't think that the Nebraska coaching staff and players would necessarily shock they lost the game, but how they lost the game. You know, self-destructing and the losing the poise a little bit.
Mental mistakes.
Yeah, they've rectified that, it looks like.
35 seconds, clock is running. Esslinger's pass is going to be complete to Ronald Antoine. 26 seconds left to play.
Antoine going out to the 42-yard line. First down, Rams.
Antoine, a couple of receptions today, over 50 yards. Jeff Turner was the big guy receiving. 6 receptions, 125 yards.
Some things never change, huh?
Nope. But Amon Green was the main man offensively rushing the football for Nebraska. 163 yards on 22 carries, and he crossed the goal line once. Esslinger, just a straight handoff. That might do it. Damon Washington just loses the feet. Clock with 13 seconds left, and it is running, and Sonny Lubick and staff are not going to stop it. Well, Nebraska goes to 2-1 on the year. They have an impressive victory. They did everything they needed to do offensively. They roll up the big numbers. They win it 65-9 as Tom Osborne leads the Huskers to their 700th win in school history.
That's a little piece of history right there. There's only a handful of teams, programs that have done that. Nebraska joins the ranks.
65-9 is the final. We'll be back right after this message from Dr. Pepper. Like a chance to kick a field goal for $1 million? See specially marked Dr. Pepper 12 packs for details.